Hi guys, welcome to Tamra's Tarot Variety. Tonight I'm going to be channeling Jesus. Yay! I have so many notes, guys. I have been taking notes for a couple of weeks now, so I just organized them tonight. Forgive my appearance. I was at the beach all day. It's very late. I've been working on this. It's May 24th, 2021, and it's around 3:30 in the morning. So anyway, let's welcome Jesus. He's kind of, he's a male spirit, and he's just kind of hovering in the background. I talk to him a lot, so it's not like an interview. He's told me what to say. As many of you know, I'm a medium and I do automatic writing, so that's what I'm going to be doing, is reading the automatic writing. Just let me take a breath. Have him settle in with me. I can hear in my right ear. So if you see me reading, guys, it's just, like I said, it throws some people off. They're like, are you reading someone else's stuff or something? No, I've channeled Jesus, and I write it down. He's saying, all right, go ahead. So he is coming in. He is saying he is Prince of Peace. Many of us know that. We have heard that expression. He is a messenger of God. That's what he's always been. He doesn't want to go further than that right now, but that's what he's saying. He is simply a messenger of God. So take that as you will, compared to everything that you've heard. And his one purpose when he brings messages, it hasn't changed from when he was here. It is to bring more peace. So always keep that in mind. He said you can agree with his messages or not, but he brings the messages to bring you, everyone, more peace. So we're just going to get into it. Israel and Palestine. I asked him, did Israel take Palestine's land? And he said no. I asked him, did Palestine take Israel's land? He said no. He said Israel has enough land. Palestine has enough land. That's it. He said they just need to stop fighting. That's it. That being said, this is a different subject and does not have to do with the land, and should not be used in regards to the land. The best religion now, he is saying his favorite, well, it's always been, it's Judaism. And that is, now think of his message, bring more peace. We'll get more into that. Judaism is his favorite as of now, on a whole, with the action that it brings in for the individuals involved. But he is not a fan of Hasidic Judaism. He said, bear with me. He knows these are very hot topics, and they shake people to the core. He gets that, and guys, trust me, he's being very diplomatic. He said, thank you. He sees himself as a diplomat. So he would still like to see a mix of Judaism and Christianity. When he was alive, that was his goal to, he said he wasn't called Christian yet. He was just trying to update Judaism. And that's what he came to do. He said after his death, it spiraled out of control, guys. And he's showing me telephone, like a can and a string, like, yeah, imagine when you play telephone. He said, humanity is humanity. That's what happened. Especially when he was exalted and glorified. Everything just became like, do this, don't do that, do this. And, he's saying like, telling a lie is not the same as murder. So anyway, he's showing me, it's like a director, like, keep it going. But it spiraled out of control, and he, when it comes to religion, he would like us to update our religion worldwide. This is all the religions. And he believes, now think of his original message, this is in order to bring more peace. He would like a mixture of, he's saying Judeo-Christian. Take, logical things from each that have been shown to bring people peace. He says we need an upgrade. And he's just going to be very diplomatic and say that cultures that have the most equality and the most equitable religions will have the most peace. Now, when he says equality, he means that masculine and feminine energy, the traits are considered equally important. He says that people think that people who are feminine, when they act masculine, or vice versa, someone who is naturally, not their body, but naturally feels masculine, trying to act feminine in order to survive or get respect. He said that is not equality. Equality would be, for example, if you had a man and a woman who are heterosexual, and the man is deep in his masculinity, and he's a stereotypical masculine. He likes to do masculine things, and he marries a very feminine woman. So, you know, masculines are more of the providers and feminines more of the receivers. So think of if you had that relationship. What he's saying is equality would be that in that particular relationship, her feminine qualities are considered as equal as his masculine qualities. And he's saying that we're so far from that. We're defining, especially here in the West, we're defining masculine equality as, you know, women can do everything men can do. And he's saying, yes, some, if it's depending on your inherent being, like what you consider, you know, he's hoping that people can be what they were naturally born to be and be appreciated for that. That's equality. Okay. And he says there should be new commandments, and he may give those to come. And thank God I'm not the only one who channels Jesus. He's like, yeah, you know, I don't that's a whole rabbit hole. So then we're going to move on to something from Judaism, which is the kosher diet. He's said this before. He says that that is the best diet for humans and for animals. It's the most humane. He does say to know your body, though. Like for me, he wants me to follow, as many of my subscribers know, I'm Christian, but he has told me that most of my lifetimes I've been Jewish. But for my body type, he wants me to follow the kosher diet. So for me, it's no shellfish, no pork, and he added in lamb. So for everybody, he's recommending no shellfish, no lamb, and he's saying there are some body types that do well with pork, and you should figure out what your body type is. He's highly recommending people look at their ancestry, where you came from, what works for you. And he said it's really important to figure out what foods work for you. Anything that gives you indigestion, or, you know, if you notice something just making you gain weight quickly, you know, these are the kinds of things. But he's saying that that's coming, guys, this whole genetic way of dieting, and he loves that. So he's tangential like I am, but it's okay. So one of the biggest things he's seeing that is bothering him is, guys, you can't just eat a lot of food and think that you can exercise it off. It's really bad for your organs, and it's really bad for your joints. He's saying people are over-exercising, like overindulging and then over-exercising. I feel like we've all done that. You said, yeah, it's really bad for you. Again, he's just trying to bring us peace. He's not trying to take things away from us where, you know, we would not be at peace. And he's more concerned with us being at peace than being happy. It's okay. Moving on. Yeah, I'm just going back. Okay. I just wrote some of the same things. Okay, so moving on to COVID-19. I'm just going to say it. I don't know what it does to your channel. I kind of want to find out. So he said, indeed, it came from bats. It came from the wet market. And he said those markets need to be abolished. And he said, we have chicken, we have beef, we have fish. Some people can eat pork. He said, that is enough. That is enough. My glasses, I'm like this wacky. Sorry guys, you know I have ADD. I get very distracted. But he said, you guys, there's more than enough food. Those are the foods we're meant to eat. And he said it's really not healthy to eat shellfish. And it's a long rabbit hole, but you know, shellfish are just, he says, they're just picking up all the toxins of the ocean. Anyway, I mean, fish does too. He said, yeah, but it's different. You know, and he also, so this chicken, beef, fish, some people can have pork, that's enough. And he's saying there are huge variations in how much protein people need. Like me, he said, I'm an old prototype. I need a lot of protein. I have to be careful. We all have to be careful about how it's prepared, all of that stuff. But that's why he's saying just the kosher preparation would just be the best. It would respect the animals, it would respect us. So let's go back to COVID-19. Spiritually, because you know we are all being tested spiritually all the time. Not tested. He's like, please, yeah, don't make it like harsh. He said the Bible came out harsh, and they are very into us enjoying our life and being at peace. That being said, COVID-19 magnified, he showed me a big magnifying glass. It simply magnified everything that was already there. So it brought out the good, the bad, the ugly. He said that's why it's just a huge shakeup. We're going to be seeing companies dissolve, divorces, people getting together with people that they never, you know, would have dreamed of. But it's going to really lighten a lot of us up. And that's why I had done a prediction, and now I know like my spiritual team. So, you know, Jesus is helping me. But I had done a prediction about New York, and, you know, my team, my spiritual team mentioned a big lightening up, and they showed me like these light pastel sneakers that I have never seen, and now I see them. Things like that, and dancing in the streets. But that's, you can watch my video, maybe I'll put in here, the future of New York, but that's a whole rabbit hole. But he said many of us have learned, and I'm sure you can agree with this, a lot of spiritual lessons through this time. And he said the souls that have passed are there, and he would like you to refer to souls that have passed from COVID as heroes, as that was in their contract, and they did that to benefit humanity so that our souls could grow. That's, thank you. That's awesome. So let's move on to children. Well, before I move on, I didn't write this down because I had copied it over, but he's reminding me, Gen Z is going to be paramount in bringing a lot of new ideas in, and they're going to be, I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of them are very natural. But he said, okay, we can do that another time. But moving on to children, he said more and more will be discovered about what trafficking, and that's going to be coming out many there's a lot of people on this, guys, and it's just going to come together, and many spiritual people have been getting the messages, and non-spiritual people are working in different organizations working on this, and it's all just as important. If you guys want to look at, I have a playlist of my spiritual experiences, and I had a dream about, trafficking, and, Jesus and my team, they're helping me figure out what that dream is about. So I'll do another video on that. So back to children, he wants to add, please teach children how to do everything while they're young. And he was laughing. He's like, of course we don't want to go back to child labor. But he said you need to make it normal and fun. And he's really applauding the Japanese for doing this, for teaching their children how to cook and clean. And he's saying a lot of people in India and Asia, teach your children how to cook and clean and paint. They need those fine motor skills. They need to know they can accomplish things. And he said sometimes it's actually the adult ego that wants to feel needed. And he said, you're so needed as a parent, but please, he said it's actually abusive to not teach your children how to cook and clean, take care of themselves, do laundry. He said, children feel so good when they're on like this schedule where they do different activities. And he said, you wouldn't believe it. And he said he can see you guys maybe shaking your head, being like, no, my kids won't do anything. And he said, you have to just ingrain it as a part of life, that it's just like you make your kids go to school. You got to make them do these things. And he said a lot of children are anxious and depressed because they don't know how to do things, and it gives them this feeling of helplessness. And then the parents, maybe parents have money and they think that their kids are just, why are they unhappy? And he said because they need skills, as many skills as they can learn. And our attitude towards learning needs to change. And he said children need purpose, they need structure. Find out what they like to do. Don't shame them if it changes. So let's see. He would really like to remind you, please don't leave your children with adult strangers. There's just too much abuse. And with that being said, he said, We may even start to change our whole school system. And, you know, COVID helped with that. And he said, guys, it's just, unfortunately, that might need to happen. And also, on a personal level, please keep your children out of any adult conflicts that you have, you know, fights that you have with your partner, marital issues. Do not use your children as a pawn. And this is going to be a really, really uncomfortable, weird message, but there is a standard of beauty that each culture has. And if you find your child to be in that standard of beauty that people want, desire, understand that they are more at risk. All children are at risk, but they are more at risk. And if they have a talent too, like he's saying, like acting and stuff. But, you know, there's always a group mind of what is considered attractive. And if your child falls into that group, they are going to be more sought after. That it's just try to use like common sense, that just because someone is, you know, I'm trying to think of a good word to use, but they're that way, an adult, they still have their own, like, preferences. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. So I'm gonna move on to substances. He would like you to be as substance free as possible, and this just, he said, please trust me. It might be hard at first, but you will be more at peace. He does understand that some people need to take medication. But he says substances generally exacerbate problems that you already have, and they also create fights between people. If you notice many like things going on in the world, many crimes, of course he said, yeah, there's mental issues, but everything's just exacerbated by substances. Now he wants to say a little bit about substance. He says we are tribal, okay? Human beings are tribal. And this is, he's joking. He's like, an unprecedented time. You know, people have been saying that about, you know, COVID, but this is an unprecedented time where people don't have support systems, and that is also just really bad. Addictions, he says addictions can come from, a lack of connection, lack of love, lack of purpose, past life trauma, this life trauma, and even our DNA, so our relatives' trauma. And he used the example of maybe your relatives went through, you know, lived through a genocide. Like my Armenian relatives escaped the genocide, but they were starved. So we do have issues in my family. It comes from the DNA. So if you come from, you know, your ancestors were starved, you might have an issue with overeating. So he'd like you to look at that, and that might help. The final subject he would like to talk about, he says he's really on point and up with all of the current topics. So it's narcissism, and he's very proud of everyone for, discovering this and studying this. It's one of my favorite topics. So he says, spiritually, narcissism is when someone is detached from their soul, and there is detachment from their purpose. And because they are detached from their purpose, they naturally try to prevent others from doing their purpose. And it upsets them when they see someone who is doing their purpose. They have a scarcity mindset, and that comes from detaching from your soul. He's showing me this loosey-goosey, those things that go like that when there's a sale in a car place. He's saying that's what you are when you are experiencing narcissism. It's just like you're just, your soul's over here, and you're away from it, just kind of going like this. And then when you see someone who's in their soul, you just want to bother them so that they're like this with you, just kind of. So interesting. Yeah. Unstable. So that's why it creates a scarcity mindset, because if you're not connected to your purpose, then you feel like you need other people to take care of you. So that could be anyone. And he said, because you're detached from your purpose, he said, you're still some will still maintain their talents. So that's where you could see someone who is, a narcissist, but they can be an actor or performer. They can do their job, but that's what is creating the personality disorders. You can do your talent and still be detached from your soul. You can do something intellectually, and you can even be emotional, but that's different than being attached to your soul. And also, as narcissists age, if they don't get back in touch with their soul, they are open to negative spirits and negative entities attaching themselves to them. So that's why sometimes you could, work with someone or be friends with someone, know someone that's a narcissist, and you've always, gotten along with them fine, and then, suddenly you're doing something that makes you really happy, and this person could turn to you just out of the blue and say something just really out of character, or we're going off on tangents, but the reason that they're like that too is this creates this scarcity mindset where they feel they're in constant competition. And this could come across in an overt way where, someone is just incredibly aggressive and competitive, or it could be in a really covert way where it's just like they are micromanaging and nitpicking, and some of these things on their own are not narcissism, but you'll know it if we're generalizing here, but if you're feeling it, if you think that that might be it, that he said, please don't make the problem worse. We all have an ego, and it's not, that everyone has a little narcissism. Not saying that. It's just that when you meet someone like that, it triggers your own ego. So the best thing that you could do is pray for that person. Try not to react too strongly. Of course, sometimes, if you've got to save your life or your job or something, of course you need to react, but distance yourself and pray. And he's saying you can't have a relationship with a narcissist. It's not a relationship, so you might as well not have one. And he understands, about family and stuff like that. But, just study it, do your best, and understand that this person is detached from their soul. And it doesn't mean that they don't have one. And it doesn't mean like when they pass, of course, they're going to be totally attached to their soul and they'll understand what they were going through. But until then, you may have to deal with it. So, and he would like to remind you of one of his famous expressions, which will help you stay at peace, which is do unto others as they would do unto you. Treat others as you want to be treated. And then he wants to remind you that they send musicians lots of music. That's one of their favorite things. And he's ending with this line, the words of the prophets, they are written on the subway walls. I can't sing, but in tenement halls. So I'm going to repeat that. The words of the prophets, they are written on the subway walls, in tenement halls. That's one of their favorite messages that they have sent. And it means don't squelch talent with poverty and racism. And that's why, society is moving forward and everyone's trying to figure out a way to, well, not everyone. He's like, back to narcissism. Like, no, narcissists do not want to help people get out of poverty. If you have a scarcity mindset, you're going to use anything that you can. So you're going to want other people to be below you. And go back to it. It says, don't squelch talent with poverty and racism. So for the most part, healthy people are trying to move forward. We're trying to eliminate poverty. We're trying to eliminate racism. But then, you have those pesky narcissists that, of course, would want, like I said, poverty and racism, because anything that would make them come out ahead, if you have that scarcity mindset and someone else is of a color where you could say they're lesser, then of course that's going to happen. But for the most part, he says we're trying to grow, we're trying to move past that. And he's asking us to just listen to music. There's a lot in lyrics. And he's doing this, and he's saying, peace be with you. And, he wants to thank the people who, musicians who actually listen to the downloads that they're given, the messages that they're given, and, their prophets. He's like, the words of the prophets. He's saying mediums too. Thank you. It's scary. We listen to what we're told and hoping that people don't reject it. So anyway, he is saying, peace be with you. And he said that's why we love Star Wars so much. Because it's really just you know, it's a example of the world. Anyway, peace be with you guys. That this is one of my longest videos, but it's Jesus. We can give Jesus 40 minutes, right? He's like, yeah, you can give me a little bit more time than a sitcom. All right, I love you, Jesus, and Jesus is sending his love, and he's asking that you all please pray to him. He's always around, and he'll be coming through me and other readers with more messages. All right, bye guys. Peace be with you. Love you. Bye. And thank you, Jesus.